Okay, so we are going to make a bee body. So come ahead and make a new object. I'm going to go to Sudac, Unitbox, Subpatch, Subdivide, Metaform. Okay, so next we have this basic shape. I want to make sure that in my shading mode I am in texture wired. I think it's just easier to see, especially when you're getting started. So there I am, texture wired. I'm going to pay attention to my windows, top, back, and side. So we're going to make a bee, and we're going to start out with the body, and we're going to keep it really simple. All right, so keep it simple. Where's the front of my bee? Well, its face will be facing, go to polygon mode, this direction right here. All right, so we're facing the positive z-axis. So in the perspective mode, I'll have a look. Looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to make a decision where I want my bee's mouth to be. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select 4 polygons, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can, try to stay with 4s. All right, work with 4s. So with 4 selected, I will smooth shift, I will click, I will release, I will hit H to stretch, and I'm going to look down at the bottom here, and I'm going to make sure that I'm in action center selection. Looks good. And I'm just going to stretch this smaller, come into the right window, put my cursor here, and pull it flat. Okay. Next, I will take a look. My perspective window looks pretty good. I'll do the same thing again, which is just smooth shift, click, H to stretch, and stretch it a little bit smaller. All right, so this is the area that we're going to use for our mouth. Okay, it's a cavity. So I will smooth shift one more time, and this time I'll hit T to move, and I'm just going to move it back. All right, so you can see here, this will be the quote-unquote mouth of our bee. Next, I'll smooth shift again, click release, T to move. I will move it back a little bit. This is going to be the inside of the mouth. Notice that when I pull, I'm not pulling back super far. All right, just pull back a little bit at a time. Try to stay consistent with your spacing. All right, your craftsmanship will be much better, and you'll get much better results. Okay. Next, I'm going to smooth shift again. I'm going to click and release, H to stretch, and stretch this bigger. And this will be the inside of the mouth, so I'm not that concerned about it. Just some type of cavity, and smooth shift one more time. T to move, looks pretty good. H to stretch, I'll stretch it a little bit smaller. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to drop my tool with the space bar and deselect in the lower left hand corner. So that's my basic face. Now it doesn't look great. The problem is like the corner areas here, they're too far out. All right, and this is going to be a kind of a mouth area. So I'm going to move this back. All right, and if you look, this is good because now when we animate, we could make this thing kind of happy or sad. Right, so we need those corners of the mouth. Everything looks pretty good. You know, truthfully and honestly, if you're just getting started, this is fine. We can keep that and call it a day. I'm gonna go another one though, so this would be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and make another layer, and I'm going to create unit box, subpatch, subdivide, and hit OK. So the secret here is just deciding, you know, where you want your cavity or your mouth to be. In this one, I'm going to smooth shift and bring that top area up, and I think I'll do it one more time. Smooth shift, and there's no rhyme or reason. You're just kind of looking at the form, and then in your brain, you are figuring out, what would look good. All right. So in this case, I'm going to make kind of a pill shape, and then I'm going to select these polygons here in the front. And again, I'm in the right-hand window because my object should be facing the positive z-axis. And this time I'm going to try something different. This should work. I'm going to have these 6 polygons selected. I'm going to hit smooth shift click, H to stretch. I'm going to stretch this a little bit smaller, and I'm in the back window here. You can see I'm going to stretch it a little bit flatter, and I'm going to stop. Okay, you don't want to stretch too much when you smooth shift. You definitely want to move the points, but you need these loops here to hold your form. So every time you smooth shift, I'll do that again, it creates additional loops. Okay, so I have extra geometry. I will smooth it, and I will pull it back. All right, so even there, I'm thinking this is actually pretty good. I will add a little more detail in the mouth area, and then I'll call it a day. All right, so I'm just going to select these 4 polygons here and just move them back a little bit. Looks fine. And next, I'll probably work on like a throat cavity here. So I'll smooth shift click, H to stretch that a little smaller, stretch it a little flat, and I'll pull it back a tiny bit, smooth shift again, click release, T to move, I'll move it back, then move it down a little bit, and then I'll do it again, smooth shift click, H to stretch it a little bit smaller, and then move it back and pull it down. And again, I could keep going all the way down, but I think for right now that's fine. So I'll spacebar to drop the tool, deselect, and I'll take a look at this. So it looks pretty good. I think it needs some lips, okay? Again, this is gonna be like a weird abstract bee, and the point here isn't to make a bee, it's just to start creating form that we can animate, keeping it super simple. So with that in mind, I don't love it, but I'm going to play. So I selected this loop by selecting some polygons in a direction, then looking down at my keyboard, I hit the right arrow, and you'll see the computer will continue that selection and make a loop. Looks pretty good. I think I'm going to smooth shift, click, and then this time I'm going to actually jump to my tools on the left, and I'm going to choose inflate, and I'm going to puff that full of air just by clicking and dragging. And then I will go to stretch and maybe stretch this a little bit smaller. And I think I'm about done. This is pretty good. You know, you might want to test this out. Obviously I can play with it some more, but I just want a mouth that I can kind of open and close, and it looks like this will work for me. So I'm going to call it a day. I have basically two basic shapes that I can use for my bee.